All right. Linda Brand, welcome to Empower Network TV.
Thank you for having me.
It's very interesting. Expected unexpected. I thought we should call it that because Linda and I actually met yesterday in this Starbucks in Florida. I was sitting two tables back, just interviewing someone. And Linda, was sitting at the table behind me, one table back. And after interview, you said something to me and asked me something about coaching or something. And then
Yeah, I asked if you were coaching because I figured you were coaching someone the way that you were talking. I was listening, going, oh, it sounds like he's on a coaching call.
yeah, but I was doing an interview with someone. So, and then we started talking, and then you said that you're a coach and you're launching your business. You're also a realtor. And I'm like, great. Do you want me to interview you? So she joined the group. Here we are. She's checked a few things out. So Linda Brand, welcome here. And if you could give everyone a bit of a snapshot of who are you? What do you love? What do you do in the world? What brought you to this space?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. So I grew up in Michigan, a suburb of Detroit, and I just had some challenges growing up with a lot of negative conditioning and programming around mindset and just kind of a critical, I'm not going to say completely toxic or negative because I did have love, but I didn't have a lot of supervision as a teenager and young adult. And I ended up in trouble and just had a lot of challenges. I don't need to get into details, but trauma and different things that I overcame. And then in my early 20s, I got into real estate. And I've been licensed over 30 years. I had a beautiful son. God blessed me in 1998 with a beautiful boy. And I never really loved real estate, but it was just what I fell into, if you will. And anyway, and for years, I had been listening to Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy for, 30 years, trying to get my head positive. And then in 2011 and 12, I got very sick with a debilitating illness, and I had to tackle, handle this with everything I could, from, medicinal, herbal, spiritual. I did no alcohol for over 2 years, everything I could do to heal myself. And then in 2016, I was in a workshop, and the guy said, you identify yourself with this illness, and a light bulb went off, and I went back to the doctor. Anyway, I stopped identifying myself as a sick person. And in 2017, I started hiring coaches, and they were all spiritual coaches. They were all law of attraction coaches. They were all, so my journey, when I look back, because the spiritual awakening and all the things started in 2011 and 12. And then in the last year, I completely changed my life, and I sold my house of 25 years and relocated to Florida with my rescue dog. And it was a big, brave move, but I was in Miami in 2021, December, at a workshop with Gina DeVee. She's an author and a coach. She wrote a book called The Audacity to Be Queen that I highly recommend for every woman on the planet. And in that workshop, I had all these epiphanies, and the final night of the final night, I was in the restroom of the hotel, Italian restaurant. We were having dinner. We never left the hotel. We went next door this particular night to a different hotel. We didn't, we just were in the workshop all day. And so we were having dinner, and I was washing my hands, and I got this divine download that I believe I belonged in Florida. And I came back, and, fear sets in and all the things. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, the long story short is I sold my house, closed 2/22/22. I love saying that because of the numbers. I'm an angel number person. And we moved here in April of last year. I started the coaching business. I started a podcast called Empowered, by the way. I think that's another thing you and I were like, oh my God, your thing's called Empower. Mine's Empowered the podcast. And it's on all platforms, and it's inspirational, motivational, transformational stories, as well as health and wellness, because I'm super passionate about health and wellness, seeing that I overcame such a, if I would have listened to the doctors, Amos, they would have, who knows where I'd be, because 3 doctors told me I had fibromyalgia. It's a whole story. But anyway, that's a little bit about me.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that. And
You're
I got to
welcome.
ask about your dog. There's a lot of animal lovers in this group. What kind of dog you got?
Oh, thank you. So I had his DNA done. He's a black lab Chihuahua Corgi Rhodesian Ridgeback. So he looks like a black lab puppy with short legs. He has a little white spot on his chest and he has a little gray around his mouth, but he's short and he's adorable and he's just an amazing companion, but he's a true rescue. So I had to deal with a lot of things with him. And I think I'm creating a digital course on what to expect when you adopt a shelter dog. That's one of the things I have in the works, is to either do a masterclass or an actual digital course, because I think it would be super valuable for people to see what to expect. Because even though I've had dogs for 30 plus years as an adult, in dogs and cats and all kinds of animals as a child, I never had a dog with post-trauma. And, when he, just having the patience and learning how to reprogram him to not be afraid of everything. So teach him
Well,
how to.
isn't that kind of what we have to do with ourselves, is reprogram ourselves to not be afraid of?
That's right. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. I have an amazing, I had someone on my podcast, Sean Hill, who wrote a book called Activate Your RAS, and she's an NLP practitioner. And I contemplated hiring her, but yeah, she does the neurolinguistic. Yeah, absolutely. We have to unlearn all the things, reprogram, because we have so much programmed in here. The subconscious mind is running the show.
Does he give you insights, your little doggy? Does he help you?
We can learn from animals. Absolutely. Be present, be grateful, be happy. Yeah, he's an angel. I'll say, you're my angel. And then he licks me, and he never licks me ever. But when I tell him he's an angel, he'll lick me. So yeah, he's over there on the couch. Let's see. Oops, the light went out. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's over there. I'll turn it back on. It's my thing. But yeah, the dog's amazing. I was not going to get another dog when my last one passed away, and all my friends and neighbors are like, of course you're getting another dog. You're a dog person. And about 4 months later, I decided to foster, and that's the shortest story. But there is a 20-minute episode on the podcast that I did right around his birthday in August to tell the story of what happened with the rescue and when I adopted him, because it was very interesting, but it had to happen that way for me to have him, actually. So it all happens. Everything happens for us. That's a belief I have. Everything's always happening for you. Even a perceived to be negative thing, there's always an underlying blessing somewhere. That's my belief. Do you believe that?
I'm seeing it more and more the more I stop pushing away the things that I'm tempted to judge as painful. When I stop judging them as bad or painful and start looking at them, I find that there's more value there than I realized.
Did you ever hear the Chinese proverb, good or bad, we'll see? Good or bad, we'll see, no matter what happens. Oh, good or bad, we'll see. Telling you, it's amazing. It's so good because, it's, you can Google it and read about it, but, yeah, because sometimes what looks like it's not for us, or that looks to be not a good situation, ends up being some kind of gift. There's a gift.
And
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask you about that. So the real estate that you're moving out of, I'm just covering my mic because there's a loud blender going.
Oh, sure.
What did you learn through the progression of real estate now as you're going into coaching, podcasting? What did that train you with?
Oh my goodness, so much. Well, first of all, I'm not completely out of real estate. I'm still doing a little bit. But I learned first, if I knew what I know today, 20 years ago, I'd probably have had a different business and perhaps wouldn't be in Florida because, I would have been doing better in Michigan. But anyway, I learned to let things go. I learned to not take things personal. I learned a lot of mindset. I learned, rejection can be protection and rejection can be redirection. And, truthfully, I was just on a podcast for a mortgage guy who's doing podcasts and interviewing all these realtors and just trying to provide value to the realtors so they could listen to tips and tricks and whatever. And he was happy to listen to me and all my coaching stuff, and he loved it, was eating it up. And, but anyway, and ultimately there's a book called Rejection Proof. Like, sales is a rejection business. So you really have to become bulletproof. You can't, it's not, and it's funny because even my son had a client the other day, he's in a different business, but he had some challenges and he was worried. And I said, you're giving this person power, like how you feel, we dictate how we feel. We get to choose our thoughts, like we choose our clothes every single day. We have control of here, even though we allow this to run the show often, like I said, the subconscious, but like we get to choose. So if a client, a deal's falling apart and you are allowing, because you're attached to the outcome, the money, right? You need the money, you want this to have, we can't control what we can't control. Anyway, so I learned a ton through that and a lot about myself, and it's a people business, 100%. It's a relationship business and I'm good at it. Actually, I have over 80 reviews on Zillow. I'm actually really good at it. It's just getting the leads. And, I'm not into hustling and chasing at this point in my life. I just want to, be able to live anywhere and help people, serve and live this is my purpose work, my passion, like the podcast, Labor of Love. I mean, I'm bringing guests that are powerful healers, authors that are writing amazing books. But it's a lot of work. You're doing it. It's a lot.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask then, who do you want to connect with in Empower Network TV? Because there's a lot of, just blown me away as the number of amazing people in this community that the stories, oh my gosh, there's hundreds of them, hundreds of them in this community.
Yeah, I love to connect with any of the like spiritual mindset coaches, people who, like a Wayne Dyer, Gabby Bernstein type of people. Those are like my Louise Hay type, anyone who's into like the Dr. Joe Dispenza stuff. I've done a lot of courses and hired so many coaches and done all these programs. And I'm definitely a women empowerment coach. I am, what is it called? I want to say overcoming people pleasing, but it's like a recovering people pleaser, codependent, I tell people it's funny, but I tell people I'm like codependent with the dog, but it's not that bad. I'm getting better.
So what do you got on your horizon then? So the rest of this year into next year, you're doing both. So you're a realtor and you're coaching. Now you mentioned off camera, you're currently doing some coaching to get some testimonials so you can run sales, the website sales funnels, have lead magnets and all that. What is your plan of attack for that? How are you building all that?
I have a huge following on social media, so mostly social media, and I'm in these different coaching communities and, divinely met you, and now I'm in another beautiful community of powerful people. And ultimately, I am giving away some free coaching sessions. I only have a couple spots left, and then it will be a membership most likely that I will create. I am doing the podcast. I'm happy to have guests, or I'd love to be on other people's podcasts to get the word out about my podcast. And what's super cool is like Dr. Esther Zeladon, who I actually connected with you, and the astrologer Carmen Turner Schott. These are both authors. she actually got a client from being on my podcast, and I'm hearing a lot of that from being on my podcast. People are reaching out to guests that were on my podcast. So I'm growing the audience, and but yeah, you say I'm the real estate, I'm more word of mouth right now, and referrals. Yeah, in Florida, and then throughout the country, if anyone has any real estate needs, I have 30 years. I'd love to help in any way that I can, consulting. I mean, it's an interesting, the market's shifting, and in Florida, there's so many realtors, and it's hard. I just came last year. So to build, I don't know a lot of people yet, but coaching's more my passion work.
So what would you say with what you've learned through real estate, now coaching, podcasting? What are the key 2 or 3 takeaways that you could tell others in the group? Things that it took you 5, 10, 20 years to learn.
We're all worthy beings. We are all worthy beings. We are all here for abundance. It's available to everybody. Heal your stuff. We're all imperfect and we're imperfect. And it's about healing your trauma. I mean, there's so what else did you ask? I'm trying to think, because I so many things came to mind when you were asked that question.
Yeah, just any nuggets you want to leave with people. You're doing it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, 100%. So we create our realities. We're powerful beings. You just have to learn the manual. You have to learn how to. I just heard this on a different podcast from an amazing guy, and he said, you get the Tesla and you learn how to start it and take care of it, plug it in and all these things, but you don't really read the manual and learn all of its functions, where it's the same with the human. Like, we're powerful. You cut yourself, it heals, and it starts going into repair. I'm currently doing this fasting partial of the day, and I'm releasing this extra weight that I've been carrying around because of fear, and because I'm vulnerable. I'll share. I don't care. I'm literally carrying extra weight because it's like I'm hiding behind, it's emotional. It's knowing, being aware, becoming the observer. Become the observer of your life. Notice your thoughts. Choose your thoughts with intention. Choose your thoughts like you choose your clothes. So Gabby Bernstein's one of my huge spiritual leaders. She's written 10 books. Have you heard of her? Yeah, I love her. So I went to see her in Tampa live. It was really fabulous. And the first thing out of her mouth, and because I grow so often, I grow every day, like, I'm not the same person I was 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago. And when I went to see her, she said, "You are not alone." The first thing out of her mouth, "You are not alone." And tears started coming out of my eyes. So was she saying we're not alone because there's a higher power? Or was she saying you're not alone because you have her? Or, but whatever it meant, I started to tear up because I often was feeling alone at the time, victim versus, but anyway, yeah. So we're powerful. We get to choose. Everything, success leaves clues. And then if you're not attracting success, there's a reason, and you can heal that too. If it's, a fear of money, it's a fear of success. There's so many things. We're all dealing with different things. So that's what a coach helps out with.
Well, thank you, Linda. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
sharing those nuggets, and thank you for being here, and thanks for being just straightforward. Just boom. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. That's who I am. That's just who I am and how I am. And I really, you know what? You like me or you don't, that's okay. Either way. Hopefully you like me, but it's good.
Amazing. Well, can you
Thanks.
please, after I tag you in the Facebook group, can you please drop any of your links for your podcast, any other links you got in the comments section of this post?
Absolutely. Thank you. Love to.
Well, if you've been listening to Empower Network TV or watching on a replay, Linda Brandt, reach out to her. Let her know what you appreciate about her interview. She'd love to connect with you, and who knows? who knows what things can lead to, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this, Amos. I love it. I really appreciate this opportunity.
It's my pleasure. You're supposed to connect with someone in the group, that's for sure, because why would I randomly meet you in a coffee shop? So I'm looking
Exactly.
forward to hearing the people you connect with. So thanks so much, Linda. I'll be shooting you the links here by
Sounds
tonight.
great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep, bye-bye.